Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fall 2020 Assembly of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. We've recorded several segments for our assembly today. The recorded segments will include some brief introductions to some of the newest members of our college. We'll also provide a few words to express our deep appreciation to the custodial staff that have worked so hard to keep our spaces clean and safe throughout our college this year. We're also going to provide some recorded virtual tours of some of the new or newly renovated and improved spaces across the college that many of you may not have had an opportunity to see in person. However, the final portion of this assembly will be live, and Provost Cordell and President Garrett will be joining us live to offer a few brief remarks, and we will also attempt to answer whatever questions you may have for us at that time. Thank you for joining us for this event, and I look forward to seeing everyone at a real in-person assembly as soon as that's possible again. Thank you.
Next semester, so you should come and check out what we're doing. You should also follow us on Instagram at ESU Clay to see what students are working on. There's a lot of fun mold making, one-part molds, along with the wheel throwing class. The intermediate classes are also working with mold making, and the independent students are starting to make a 2 feet tall pot. So some larger scale work there. So yeah, check us out on Instagram. My work primarily is made out of colored porcelain on the potter's wheel and then altered with small coils like you can see here in the back, and then there's some drawings back there. I also make functional work. I got some bowls back there. I also make earrings, and you could check out my Instagram page that has the functional work, which is floor.ceramics on Instagram, and you could follow my other Instagram page, which is just Floor Widmar, and you could see some of my larger scale installations and look at the coil building up close. But I'm very excited to be here and be working with students and the faculty here, and I hope you guys come and join and see what we're doing, or follow us on the social media. But yeah.
just a fish's buoyancy. Right now, it's probably being studied by some nerdy lab tech, 'cause she loves fish anatomy. Right now, she's probably opening up another cool fish, showing her counter-current blood flow. Oh, and she might know that partial pressure allows oxygen to be released from blood. Hemoglobin, what is this structure that is so very neat? It took a nomenclature that's been Latinized, found in fish of different size. Baby, this time for sure, call it the reef. Right now, I'm probably gonna sing about some non-fish, revising your brain capillaries. Oh wow, the scientist says who'd have thunk, and she's discovering that it's causing fish endothermy. Right now, it's probably passing on heat ions gas through that vessel blood flow. Oh, and she might know that partial pressure allows oxygen to be released from blood. Hemoglobin, read mirabilis, so very neat. It took a nomenclature that's been Latinized, found in fish of different size. Baby, this time for sure, call it the reef. Might save a little knowledge for the next girl, 'cause you wanna learn about the reef. Oh, you can sing it with me. Oh, sing it with me. The partial pressure allows oxygen to be released from blood. Hemoglobin, read mirabilis, so very neat. It took a nomenclature that's been Latinized, found in fish of different size. Baby, this time for sure, call it the reef. Baby, this time for sure, call it the reef. Oh, it's the reef.
The SU Department of Art is proud to share a tour of the all-new Graphic Design Lab in Roosevelt Hall. Come on in and take a look around. Students in the program now have access to a dedicated learning space customized to the needs of a graphic designer. The lab is equipped with 9 scanners and 18 Macintosh computer workstations, each capable of running the full Adobe Creative Cloud suite. Both students and the instructor can share their work on two 65-inch monitors. A dedicated critique space creates an area away from distractions where ideas can be shared and explored. Large movable panels provide space to post work and allow natural light into the classroom. Multiple output devices are available, and large format printing is an option on the Epson Color printer. The lab also provides room for growth with space to add additional equipment, giving students a real-world, hands-on experience. Please come by and visit our new lab if you get a chance.
Hello, I'm Brent Thomas. I'm the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences here at Emporia State University. And I'm very excited to share with you some of the great progress that's going on here in this new facility, the Profit Aquatic Research and Outreach Center, what we often call the PAYROC. This facility it's been built all with private dollars. So we're very grateful to our donors, alumni, friends, foundations who have supported this project. But it's really going to allow us to expand our outreach efforts, specifically with a special focus on natural resources and aquatic environments. We're going to be able to hopefully engage the youth in K through 12 and others in our community, provide some really exciting outreach that will excite some of these young folks to later become scientists. We're also going to be able to expand our research capacity, the kinds of projects that have never been possible for our faculty and our students to work on here. Many of those things are now going to be possible. We've got spaces inside that we've simply never had before. We're going to have indoor experimental tanks. It's going to allow the kinds of projects that just haven't been possible. Excited about the completion of this facility. Can't wait for it to be done. Can't wait for the ribbon cutting and things to get in motion. Really hope to see you soon so that you can come check it out in person. Thank you so much and have a great day.
I'd like to welcome you to the Aber Geospatial Lab. My name is Rich Sleezer. I'm a professor of Earth Science in the Department of Physical Sciences, and this is our new laboratory facility.
Hello, everyone, and I'm so glad that you were able to join us this afternoon. I sincerely do wish that we could have been having a face-to-face assembly as we've had in the past. But for now, I hope that you enjoyed the recorded portion of the assembly. I do want to thank our members of the Dean's Advisory Council, IT, all of the faculty and staff that contributed materials for the videos, as well as Dorothy Stevenson for putting all of that material together. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you did as well. I also want to thank President Garrett and Provost Portal for joining us this afternoon for the live session. And with that, I will turn it over to President Garrett to make a few brief remarks. Thank you, President.
Well, thank you, Brent. It is a privilege to be able to visit with you. And like Brent, I do wish we could all be together live. You know, as I reflect on this semester, it has been such a strange semester in so many ways. And I think about so many of you, folks like Amy Sage Webb or Mike Morales or others who have been in the classroom for a very long time. And I spent just a few years as a full-time faculty member before I moved over to the dark side. And when I say that, I, of course, mean administration. My first semester as a full-time faculty member, I taught contracts to first-year law students. And I vividly remember the point during the semester when I realized that those first-year law students were starting to sound like lawyers. And you may say, well, that's not a good thing. But, you know, that was my job. And it was really exciting that there was a point in the semester when I realized that my students seemed to be getting it. And I hope that all of you are having at least some measure of that experience this semester. One of my colleagues used to say, we teach for free, we get paid to grade. But I think this year, the teach for free thing is maybe a little less exciting because it is just so very different. So I want to take a moment to say thank you for the extraordinary ways that you all have pivoted to make this semester meaningful for all of our students. You know, whether it's murdering pumpkins out on the grass or drum lines outside or many musicals that are offered, or I guess next weekend we'll be seeing a live theater production outside. I was looking for outlets to plug in the electric blanket. I didn't see any, but you know, there have just been so many creative ways that you all have approached the semester. And I want to say thank you to all of you. Some of you who may have tuned in yesterday when we did the town hall will remember an email that I shared. I'm going to share it again, though, because there weren't a lot of people on the town hall. And this email came from the mother of one of our students. And it meant a lot to me. I hope it means something to you as well. This came on Monday. And she writes that she's the mother of a sophomore and says, I would like to thank the entire ESU team for your COVID response efforts. For most of my son's life, I worked in leadership in, and in brackets, you will read another university's housing areas. My son came home this weekend and he is thriving. All but one of his classes are in person. He is happy, which she writes in all caps. Having monitored case counts in Lyon and my county for months, I could not be more impressed with the efforts of ESU to create a safe environment for our students to get back to class. I know that this is a top-down effort and ESU has outshined, again in brackets, the other university, hands down. Because I know this took much hard work and extreme inventiveness on the part of every ESU faculty and staff member, I wanted to share my gratitude with you in the hopes that you can share it with ESU employees. I took my young man back to Emporia today, and I feel that he is safer and happier there than in our hometown. Your team deserves a huge distanced hug for recognizing what needed to be done and successfully pulling it off, and I absolutely cannot thank them enough. So thank you to all of you. I know that we don't always hear those thanks from the students and the parents who are grateful for everything we've done, but they are out there, and they do recognize the extraordinary efforts that everyone has gone to. We're going to move over now and spend just a few minutes talking about enrollment, because I thought this might be something of interest to you, and you might not see this so much, but I certainly have opportunities to look at Emporia State and our enrollment numbers and compare those to some of our other peers. And so hopefully Sandy's been able to put a slide up for you to see. And I just titled it, Kansas Enrollments Hit Hard by COVID. Every number on this chart is a negative. In other words, every university, every category of higher ed in the state experienced some pretty significant declines this year. In the left-hand columns, those are counting by noses or belly buttons. In the right-hand columns, those are on the basis of full-time equivalent students. And while Emporia State's numbers were down a bit, 49 if you count noses, I think 102 if you count on a full-time equivalent basis, we actually outperformed every other institution, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And I want to give kudos to all of you, because we've got a great admissions team that works hard on all of this, a great team in our graduate area also recruiting students, but every one of you also plays a role in recruiting new students to Emporia State and in retaining those students. Also in our enrollment numbers were some pretty exciting numbers. And I wanted to mention just a few of those. And we've certainly talked about these quite a bit and included these in our press releases regarding enrollment. For the last 3 years in a row, we have had Emporia State's highest retention rates on record, which is really exciting. And I say on record, to be fair, our records really only go back into the 1960s. And beyond that, it's just all sort of murky and dark, and we don't know. But at least as far as we have written records, we've had 3 years of record-breaking retention. And so you are all to be commended for that great work. That doesn't happen without caring faculty who invest in their students. We broke our record for graduate students, for the highest number of graduate students again this year. So that's 3 years in a row. And that doesn't happen without faculty members who are willing to try new things, even in uncertain times. So thank you for that. For the last 3 years, we've had the 3 highest years of fundraising in ESU history. The interesting thing is that we have not been in a formal campaign during this time period. Our alumni and our donors are voting with their dollars to invest in the work that all of you are doing. And then finally, let me just mention this, and this will be kind of an interesting take maybe on overall enrollment. We have had our highest number of graduates ever, as well as the highest graduation rate on record. When we look at our slight decline in enrollment, which none of us wanted to see, that really relates to 3 things. And I just want to mention those 3 things. One very positive, 2 not so positive. The one that's positive is we're graduating students, and that is great. The fact that we are able to get our students through quickly also means their debt remains fairly low. And for the, I think now, 5th or 6th year in a row, Emporia State students have had the lowest debt of students from any of the KBOR institutions. The other 2 big changes with respect to who is in our enrollment count, and obviously those students who graduated, they're not. We lost in the area of international students, like everyone else. We were down, I believe it was about 80 students in international. And if you remember, back early in the spring, or maybe it was early summer, the federal government issued a new rule and essentially said that if you are an international student here in the United States on a student visa and your institution moves virtual, you must immediately return home. That, I think, had a chilling effect on international students coming to the US. I think there's concern about COVID in the United States. So that's another area where we saw some decline. And we also saw some decline with our incoming freshmen. We were on track through early May for our third year in a row of an increase in our incoming freshmen. And I think later in May, as high school seniors began to realize that maybe COVID wouldn't go away as quickly as we all hoped, that began to have a negative effect. And of course, during the spring semester, for much of the semester, we were unable to have students here to visit our campus in person. So that gives you just a little bit of an overview of enrollment. I also want to talk about something else, which is probably very much on your minds. It's certainly very much on my mind. And that is the big bombshell of an announcement that your provost, David Cordell, made just a few days ago. You know, David, I wish you and Pam all the best. Our general counsel, Kevin Johnson, wandered into my office yesterday, though, and offered to file an injunction to prohibit you from retiring. But I certainly do wish you all the best, and we'll miss you tremendously. And so let me say just a little bit about our search for a new provost. About a month ago, I pulled out our policy manual and started looking for the provisions that I was certain were there that described in great detail how to search for a provost or a dean. And after about 30 minutes of combing through the index and even flipping through the manual itself, I didn't see anything. And so I phoned a friend. I called Ray Lauber. I said, Ray, where is this? And he said, well, we actually don't have a section. And so over the last few weeks, with help from Ray Lauber and Sandy Valenti and Brenda Kerner, and then the leaders of the other shared governance groups, we have tried to flesh out a process that we believe makes sense. We'll do a national search. We'll have a search committee comprised of 15 members drawn from the different colleges within the university, the different areas that report up to the provost, as well as some areas that work closely with those in academics and the provost. Hopefully, by the end of the first week in November, we will be in a position to share who all will be on that committee. Right now, we're soliciting nominations, and then those nominations will go through our shared governance leadership as we work on the final composition of that search committee. I hate having to do a search. I hate having to replace David Cordell, but I have great confidence in the people here at Emporia State and our ability to attract someone who will be a great leader. But David, whomever is selected, will have some big shoes to fill. And with that, I will conclude my comments and pass the baton back to Brent or David. I'm not sure which one of you is up next.
Thanks, President Garrett. We really appreciate your taking the time to visit with everyone in our college today. You know, to say that 2020 has been challenging is definitely an understatement. It has been extremely difficult. But as President Garrett noted, everyone has been wonderful. You know, you've really done everything possible to adapt and overcome in the face of some really daunting challenges. So I just want to express my deepest appreciation. I am truly blessed to work with each and every one of you, and I thank you for all that you've done. President Garrett had provided some numbers related to you know, the total enrollments at ESU as a university relative to other institutions. I do have a few updates I can provide because many times people will kind of want to know a little bit of information about how is our college doing. So if Sandy could share that, I've got a slide for our undergraduate totals. Go ahead and share that. Now the undergraduate totals that I've got here just provide a quick summary. This is first majors data only. And I believe these are numbers that were taken preliminary on 20th day. They might have changed by 1 or 2 noses or something by the time they were audited, but it wouldn't change the outcome in any significant way. As you can see, that when we look at across the university and to undergraduate level, every area across the college, across the university and including our college, did see a decline. The recruiting the traditional student, the 18-year-olds coming to campus at our undergraduate level has been challenging. However, our college was down, but we were not down as much as others. Now, the biggest thing that there were so many things that hurt us, but Kendall Holderby has shared with me that one of our great strengths is the on-campus visit. When we get prospective students and their parents in front of you, visiting out there in the departments, where you get a chance to visit with them in person and you share your passion, your enthusiasm, that comes across and it works for us. And I don't remember the statistics he gave me off the top of my head. Maybe Allison or David do, but I was quite impressed when he shows the percentage that convert from an applicant to enrollment after a campus visit. Our percentage of converting those students here on this campus after a campus visit is much higher than the national averages. So this is something we are really good at. And COVID sort of took our best weapon away from us in some way. So that surely has got to have been a big factor. At any rate, admissions has done their best to adapt, and I know all of you have as well. And we're doing the best that we can. And I do believe that we have reasons to be optimistic. You know, these undergraduate numbers are just a snapshot in time. Next year, the year after will come. And I know we're not sitting still. There are so many things going on in our college and across the university to try to continue to keep these numbers up and heading in the right direction. We built out a general studies major just not too long ago. And we've been trying to, as a university, recruit to that program on our own. And we've seen some results, but not nearly as much as we had hoped. My understanding is the university is now working with an outfit known as Re-Up Education, who kind of specializes in recruiting to re-recruiting students that have left us without a degree. And we think that's going to be successful. So we think our general studies program is going to see increases in enrollment and help us out next year. We're waiting on the accreditors for our nursing program to give us some final levels of accreditors' blessings to move forward. But there is an online RN to BSN that we think is going to be very successful. Once the accreditors give us that final approval, we think we can bring in some numbers to that. We've got a great nursing program with a fantastic reputation, and ranked the best among the Regents institutions recently. So we believe that's going to be very helpful. We also have a new major in ethnic and gender and identity studies that just rolled out, and we believe that we can get some traction there. We also just fairly recently built out a new concentration in our communication degree that focuses on emerging technologies and communicating out in those fashions, which is something that there's a lot of jobs in that area. We think it's going to be attractive. So we've got a lot going on. And I want to say I deeply appreciate all of your efforts to keep things like that moving forward so that we can adapt and continue to be successful. Now, if we could take that slide on undergraduates down and move to the graduate level, I can give you a real quick summary of the graduate level numbers. Now, the graduate level numbers are not quite as good. It's a very different picture here at the graduate level. Our college was down. The other colleges are up, most significantly in the Teachers College and the School of Business. And most of that growth really has been the result of the launching and with the accelerated online programs in those two colleges. That's where the bulk of that growth has really hit. However, we do have a master's program in nursing that has been approved on campus. It's been approved by KBOR. Likewise with that one, we've got a certain level of approval from our accreditors there, but we're waiting on kind of approval for candidacy status. So we should be hearing about that in the coming future. And when that rolls out, the plan is the nursing department will be working with the AP folks to launch that program. And we believe we're going to see phenomenal growth in that program when it hits. Dr. Rowley has recently been working to develop a new master's program in applied sociology. That's not quite done yet, but she's made a lot of great progress, and we believe the program has a lot of potential. So there are so many things going on here that where we have reasons to believe we can get our numbers up. We're not standing still, and I deeply appreciate what you're doing. Well, with that, if you could take that slide down on the graduate numbers. The last thing that I'll say in my maybe not so brief comments, before I turn it over to David, on behalf of the entire College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, I do want to deeply thank you for your time and your service here at Emporia State University. You've been absolutely wonderful to work with, and we are very happy for you. But of course, you're going to be deeply missed. You've been a big champion for the university and our college, and you've been a great person to work with. So thank you for all that you've done, and we'll kind of close out our comments with you today.
Thank you, Brent. You know I'm not done yet, right? Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to be with you. I have a thought that I want to share with you about fall semester. I don't know if you've thought about this, but as of today, we are exactly 4 weeks out from the last day of in-person classes for fall semester. And what that means, to me at least, is that with every passing day, we can be a little bit more optimistic that we are going to make it to November 20th on campus here. That's a pretty big deal from my standpoint, and it isn't happening by accident at all. It's happening because you have made it happen. Our on-campus students, without question, they may not be having exactly the experience that they had hoped and expected to have this fall, but I do know, because I've heard them say it, they are grateful to be here. And they understand, they fully understand that you are the reason that they are here and able to be on campus. A thought or two also about the near future, about what we can look for and expect going forward. It's pretty obvious that we're not out of the woods yet on this pandemic. It's not over. So if we look ahead to spring semester, it's probably pretty safe to say that spring semester is going to look a whole lot like fall semester in terms of the way we're operating here on campus at the university. We're going to have, again, a mix of face-to-face, hybrid, and online courses, and all of the other adjustments and adaptations that we've had to make this semester. But I think there's a difference. And the difference for spring semester that I'm seeing is that we now have some reason for confidence that we can make it work. Because if you think back to summer, during those days and weeks when we were trying to come up with a plan for how the university would work and your plans for how your teaching would go, obviously we were all hoping for the best, but the fact is we just didn't know. Now at least we've got this model that's been tested and that we can have a little bit of confidence in. I know and understand that right now you are tired. Some of you've told me, I'm tired. And I know that I'm sure there are times and days when, along with that fatigue, you feel overwhelmed and a little bit discouraged sometimes. But it won't be like this forever. And I think there will come a time when we will look back on this time with a certain amount of pride about how we've handled this challenge. And no one has done more than faculty and staff to make that so. The faculty and staff of your college are central to that, because the arts and sciences are the core of the university. You teach every single undergraduate student who comes through the university, and you teach a lot of the graduate students too. So I just want to close by thanking all of you, faculty and staff in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, for everything that you have done to get us to this point. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Provost Cordell. Much appreciated. I think the very last thing that we've got today is questions. Dorothy, what questions do we have?
Well, it looks like you all might get off pretty easy with only one question today. The question that we received was, despite the issues presented by COVID, Emporia State has had great retention of students this semester. Why hasn't this been promoted more?
I think that one may be my question to take, Dorothy, so thank you. You know, one of the, at times, great frustrations in being a regional university as opposed to a flagship university is when all of the media gets written about some issue, it tends to really focus on the biggest of the universities. And you all remember the enrollment slide. Let's see, KU was down 665 students, K-State down 875. And that's really what the media focused on when all the universities did their enrollment releases. We certainly put that in our enrollment release. We talk about it when people from the university have the opportunity to visit with local media. We really do everything we can to promote it. The media doesn't always pick it up, even though we all think they should, because it is certainly noteworthy. Brent, if I could, I know we didn't get a question on this, but I wanted to mention something that I think the group might be interested in that relates to COVID. And this was current as of 2 or 3 hours ago. I think you all are aware that we update a COVID dashboard every Friday by the close of business. So we should be updating that. If it's not already updated for this week, it will be any minute now. And as of this morning, when I talked to Jim Williams, he gave me a quick report on testing. And we have 3 kinds of testing that we're doing on campus. Of course, Jim mentioned yesterday in our town hall that testing will be open to faculty and staff as well in the future. But so far, we've been doing walk-in testing of symptomatic students. We've been testing student athletes, and then we've been doing surveillance testing of several hundred students at a time. According to Jim, at least as of 2 or 3 hours ago, we had no positives this week, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know if either of you can tell whether that has been updated already, and does it show no positives this week? That is absolutely phenomenal. And I think that really demonstrates how seriously as a campus, Emporia State has taken this, not just our faculty and staff, but our students as well. So that's actually really exciting news as we look toward this very last month of instruction this fall.
All right, Dorothy, was that the last question?
Yep, there are no more questions. So like I said, you got off easy this time. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
Yes. Thank you, President Garrett. Thank you, Provost Cordell. Thanks, Dorothy. Thanks to IT. Have a great weekend. If I can ever help with anything, please don't hesitate to contact me. It's a great day to be a part of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences because, as David mentioned, we are truly the heart and soul of the university, and I'm truly blessed to be a part of it. So thank you all so much.